What's up, everybody, and welcome to Growing Up Gaming, your weekly podcast where we meet a new person of the internet to discuss their childhood with gaming and how it inspired their lives today. My name is Mitch Power. Again, thank you guys so much for returning each and every week to the show. Hopefully you've subscribed on iTunes, Google Play, or you've checked it out on, my website. I don't know. You found it. You're listening right now. That's all I can ask. So however you got it, I appreciate it. This week on the show, we have our guest. His name is Thomas King. I met this man on Twitter. He sent me a tweet. He said, "Hey, I want to be on the show." And I was like, of course, I'd love to have you as a guest, just like I would like to have every one of you guys who are listening as a guest as well. If you guys want to be on the show, go ahead and send me a tweet at MitchPower1116 on Twitter or at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Without further ado, let's get things started with Thomas King. Do you remember what got you started playing games? Was it a buddy, a friend, a kiosk, your parents? Do you remember what got you started in the first place?
Well, it definitely wasn't a kiosk.
No kiosk at a store, was just calling your name?
It's one of those Futurama kiosks that just kind of grabbed me and just put me in front of a game.
Yeah, there you
go. It was actually my uncle when I was, because he's only like 14 years older than me. And I was I think I was 4 years old. And he had a Sega Genesis, and I saw him playing Sonic the Hedgehog, and I was like, I need to play this. So every time he was out at work and I would be at my grandmother's, I was sitting in front of that system for God knows how long and just terribly sucking at Sonic. Just horribly doing it.
Well, yeah, you're 4.
Yeah,
I mean, you're 4, so we gotta kind of give you some leeway. You're 4.
I didn't even know that I could hold down his spin and dash after so I was going through it almost like a Mario game, which was not the right way to play Sonic.
No, especially when you can hit down when you're moving and spin and hit people in front of you without having to jump. All those cool things. Shout out to uncles with Sega Genesises because yeah, that was my uncle as well. He had a Sega Genesis, and that's what made me want to get one. So
damn straight.
What was your uncle at least cool about you playing it, or was he kind of like, "Don't touch my stuff, kid. I'm working"?
No, he was actually pretty cool with it. But he would try to torture me. So he would be like, "Yeah, you can play whatever." And at this point, between 4 and 7, I was deathly scared of Chucky the Killer Doll. So
Jesus.
So he would put in a tape of Chucky and have the TV off and be like, "Yeah, the Sega's on, just go turn on the TV." And I would turn on the TV and I would almost piss myself because you just see Chucky pop up and I'm just like, "Holy shit, why? Why would you do this to me?" But then he just let me play as much as I want to make up for it.
Oh, that's cool. I mean, what you gotta do is traumatize a kid. Make sure you do that first. Then you're like, you're cool now. You can watch it. Yeah. I just wanted to see you piss your pants a little bit. And now that you did, we're good. You can go ahead and play now.
That was his version of the rite of passage.
Yeah, exactly. It's get through hell first, and then you get the glory of playing my Genesis.
It's like a fraternity.
Yeah, exactly. You just got hazed into playing the Genesis. That's exactly how that worked, right? Yeah. Were your parents cool about video games and everything, or were they kind of one of those my kid's not playing games, he's going outside and playing baseball?
My mother definitely was. My father, not so much. He's he was pretty cool. He was whatever I was interested in. He's like, "Yeah, do it." But my mom was always like, "Get outside, get out of this house. What are you doing? You're a child. You should be playing and having fun." And I'm like, "I am having fun. I don't know what you're talking about."
Yeah, I don't know what's up with you, Mom. I'm having a blast. Mind your business, Mom. Let me have fun.
It was even worse though. As I got a little bit older, she didn't get out of work until 4:30, 5 o'clock, and I would get out of school around 2:30, I think, 3.
Right.
So I had that time, and she knew when she got home. She's like, "Okay, you've been playing video games this whole time. Go do your homework and get the fuck out of the house. Go do something."
Right. I mean, of course she wasn't stupid. She's like, "Of course you've been playing games. I know. You've probably also been raiding the fridge and eating all the shit you want because I'm not home to see all of it." Because, my kids are the same way, too. Except for now, they can't get so lucky because I work from home now. So when exactly. But when I'm not here, if I have to go into the office for some reason, I'm like, "Kids, when you get home, please do your homework. Don't just sit there and eat all the chips that are in the pantry. Go do something productive." But yeah, the other thing too is my favorite thing is parents would say get out of the house, But they didn't realize that there's this loophole of, cool, I'll leave. I'll just go to Jared's house and go play games instead.
Yep.
You know what I mean? Like,
Yep,
did they
exactly.
not think of that loophole? Like, okay, cool, I'll just go to my buddy's house and, go do the same damn thing you just told me to leave the house for.
I think part of it was like they wanted us to go outside and leave, and the other part of it was they had bad days, so they just wanted us the fuck out of the house.
Yeah, like, hey, if you could piss off for about 2 hours, that'd be wonderful.
Yeah, just forget that your home exists and just go somewhere else.
Right.
That's all I want you to do.
Exactly.
And yeah, I think that's what we all did, right? Like they were like, get out, and we just ran and scurried over to like one of our friends' house. Like who at that time when we were like that young, it was always whoever had the latest game, and that's where we went.
Yeah, and that was similar to me too, because my favorite thing is all my buddies had birthdays around different times of the year. So that was, because of course, you have that birthday Christmas loop that happened when you were a kid when you got your games and shit. And, it was always, oh shit, it was Gary's birthday. Let's go see what he got. Fucking go over his house and he had the latest game and we'd play the shit out of that. But yeah, the getting out of the house part was, the only thing that sucks now is, I always, like, us getting out of the house was also being social, right? Like, you'd go to a buddy's house and just interact with other people so you weren't a fucking weirdo who didn't just stay inside your house.
People do that? I didn't know that.
Yeah. Well, now it's easier than ever for us to never leave the house ever again.
Oh, yeah.
Ever again. But now I can't have that argument. Like, I tell my kids, hey, get out of the house and go hang out with your friends. Well, now hanging out with their friends is playing Xbox and, and like hanging out with their buddies in party chat playing Titanfall or PUBG or whatever. You know what I mean? Like, that's their social interaction now. And now the only thing I just tell people, I'm like telling my kids, I'm like, get out of the house and just go do something physical. I just don't want you being 500 pounds, please. Like, that's all I want. It's like, please just leave. And I don't want you going up and down the stairs and getting winded. Because if that happens, I'll fucking take it away. Like,
oh,
I
man.
need you doing something else.
And the only reason they're coming up the stairs is to get the chips, and to go back down is to play the video games again.
Yeah, exactly. Like, dude, my son today, literally today, I made a pizza for the family. I'm not eating it because I'm trying to get on my diet again, which sucks. But anyways,
Yep.
I call him, my daughter, Alex, Kayla, let's go. And my daughter comes down right away. My son doesn't. Now, he doesn't. He also will usually respond to me. All right, Dad, be there in a sec. And he didn't. And I go upstairs and I'm just staring at him in his room. Of course, he's playing PUBG. And I'm just like, what you doing? He's like, PUBG, Dad. I'm like, cool. Do you mind coming down and eating dinner with the rest of the family? He's like, well, Dad, there's like 40 people alive. I'm like, hurry the shit up. Let's go. like, hurry up. And then like 5 minutes later, he came downstairs. He's like, yeah, some guy just killed me. I'm good now. I'm like,
no chicken dinner, but you get a real dinner.
Yeah, exactly. No chicken dinner, but you got pizza if that's okay. But then what happened? He ate like a slice of pizza and bolted back upstairs. He was just like, see you, Dad. It's because they have a bedtime. They're like, I got about 35 more minutes. Boom, gone. See ya. And I'm like, yeah, but again, like, at least I also at least have the ability to control when my kid does his stuff, because that's my favorite thing with technology is I'm one of those dads who knows how to do all this shit. So I have timers on their thing.
Yes.
So I'll get a little email that said, Alex is asking for more screen time. And when I don't respond to the email within 5 minutes, he's coming downstairs. Dad, did you see the email? I'm like, hey, did you see it? I'm like, cool. Did you see your chores list? He's like, got it. And he just starts, he knows, because now I have that power of clicking a button and making his Xbox not work at all. So thanks for technology. Wow. Parents did the same thing back in the day, but it was more either I'm going to take the console away or I'll just threaten physical violence against you. It was one of those two things. One of those.
It was, or like my mother, like, so my family's Greek. They're super Greek. Like very Greek. And
Greek. Got it.
like yeah. So my mom, like, she would yell from the top of the stairs and like come up for dinner or homework or whatever it was. And like I would be like, yeah, that the like blank yes, where you're like just staring at the screen and you're just giving them a response just so that they hear something.
Right. Which is what my son should have did today, but he didn't. He just fucking
at least like come on, kid, you got to at least do the whole the game. You can play
be right there. Give me that.
Yeah.
And I don't have to walk upstairs. Just say, be right there, Dad. Got it.
At least be like, I'll be there in 5 minutes, and then 45 minutes later he appears.
Yeah, that's when I get pissed.
So my mom would yell a couple times from the stairs, and then eventually she would come down with either a pandofla, which in Greek that's a slipper, or she'd come down with the wooden spoon. It was one of those two. So
I would imagine you'd hope for the slipper.
Well, I mean, yeah, when I was much younger, but the slipper, like she would throw the slipper.
Oh, gotcha. It was a projectile.
Exactly. The wooden spoon, she'd have to come up and get into melee range, but the slipper she could chuck for some reason. I don't know, but whatever.
Like, hey, stupid, I called you today. What are you doing?
Yeah. Like, what are you doing? Get upstairs. And I would still be like an idiot, just staring at the screen. And she's like right next to me with one of these things. I'm like, I'm playing. She's like, pause the game. I'm like, I can't pause the game, which was a lie back then. Because
of course, yeah,
you can pause everything.
Yeah. There was no online. There was no multiplayer going on. It was like, I can't pause it, Mom.
That was like a whole different time when that transition happened. My mom took like 10 years to understand that I actually couldn't pause the game at that point. But she eventually like that's what I would get, but she would eventually stop. I think I was like 13 or 14 years old, and I was blankly staring at the screen like every other time. And she came over with the wooden spoon, and she just reared back and went to hit me with it. And I dropped my one hand off the controller and I grabbed it.
Like a Jedi mind trick. Like you were just like, whoosh.
Boom. It's like, you've done this so many times in the same fashion. Like, I got this now. Like, I got it. But the whole problem was that I died. I was playing Grand Theft Auto. I was like, you killed me. And then we just like went off after that one.
Yeah, I was going to say that's where, so far my son hasn't done that yet, but I dread that day because I don't want that day to show up where he's just like, Dad, what the hell? You killed. Ooh.
Oh, no, we do not talk like this. You're going to be with a little damn respect, or I will disable all playtime on that Xbox to 0, and you will be enjoying it as a big old paperweight. But that's goodness.
Right. Yeah, I mean, like, thankfully, technology's allowed us to just go. Also, I mean, there's a million things I can do now. Like, I can disable devices on my router per device, so I can just be like, guess what? Xbox ain't got internet anymore. How you like that? Oh, guess what? Your phone ain't got internet anymore. How you like that? But yeah, I mean, as long as you get that acknowledged, I mean, obviously the worst thing is now is like kids have like a million things to stimulate their brains, whereas we just had video games, Now there's like phones and computers and tablets and Xboxes and all that. So again, if my son had just given me the be right there, Dad, but at least he has a dad who understands. Like, I didn't go up there and I wasn't just like, I didn't walk up and just shut his shit off and be like, get the hell downstairs and eat food. He looked at me. He's like, Dad, there's 40 people alive. And I'm like, all right, I'll give it to you, but you better.
Okay.
I'm like, get downstairs. And then when he came downstairs, I'm like, can you do me a favor? Around like 6:30. Just try not to play anything multiplayer. Like, in case dinner's done and I need you down here immediately, could you do me that? Like, play some single player shit so that way I can just be like, hey, kid, come on downstairs for a bit.
We need you to make an appearance. So just like, play something easy.
Yeah, exactly. Like, and I like how you said that, make an appearance, because that's literally, hey, Grandma and Grandpa are over. He'll come down to like halfway to the stairs. Hi guys. And then just go back upstairs. I'm like, no, you get your ass down here and conversate with somebody for a minute. Like, how dare you? Those are your grandparents. Show some respect.
How do we like as gamers, how do we all have the same tendencies when it comes to like being pulled away from the game? It's like we all kind of react in the same way. Like, I don't know a gamer, like, at least my personal experience, I don't know a gamer that would like get a call from their parents or like dinner's ready that immediately like sets the controller down or turns off the system and runs over. Like, we all like struggle to get away from this damn thing. Yeah.
And that's definitely, that is a gamer tendency. I mean, it's also a tendency with just like anything you're super focused into. Like, I was talking to you yesterday, I was watching the UFC fights, and I'm just sitting there watching it, and my wife's like, hey, laundry needs to be switched over. I'm like, cool. Give me 3 minutes and 45 seconds. Like, let this round end, and I will be right there to do whatever the hell you need. You got to give me 3:45. That's all I'm asking. 3:45, rounds over. I'm up, switching laundry. And it's like, because I treat it as like, they're resting between rounds and I'm rushing between rounds. I'm like, run and do this shit real fast so I can come back before they have to start again. Like, that's how I'm feeling. But the same thing with games too. I mean, the same thing happens in games, depending on the game you're playing. If you're like in between rounds of games and shit, and you're like, okay, can I run and do the thing I need to do and get back before the game thinks I'm not there to kick me out of the match?
Oh, yes.
Let's see if I can do this. Sometimes it works and sometimes it doesn't, but that's the worst. I come back and I'm like, fuck, it kicked me out.
And sometimes you got to be like, all right, can I take a piss and get a drink, or do I have to pick one right now?
You got to decide in your head. Okay, a drink's gonna take 45 seconds. A piss might. I don't know. I'm pushing it.
I've already been holding it for 2 hours.
My favorite thing is like, again, technology. I'll hold the controller going to get a drink, and I'll be like, Jared, you have to tell me when the match is going to start, okay? Because yep, just let me know when the match is going to start. But you gotta tell me, because if I come back and I'm just standing there getting my ass beat, I'm like, you're not being a good friend right now. I thought we were friends, Jared. You gotta let me know. He's done that before too. I'll come back and I'm like, what the fuck, Jared? I'm still on the plane in PUBG. Where are you? He's like, oh yeah, sorry, bro. I muted my mic. I'm like, you're a
sorry,
piece
man.
of shit.
You fucking terrible fucking teammate. You are.
You are a terrible friend, sir. I thought you were gonna let me know things, but yeah, I mean, now at least. And the worst thing too is like we have technology to where he could like, I've had to text him before. And I'm like, if I have to text you, that's a problem. Like, that's or I'll send him messages on the Xbox. I'll be like, get downstairs now. Like, I know he'll see that if I message him through the Xbox app on my phone. I'll just be like, come downstairs, send, and then I hear him coming out of his room because he saw that for sure.
Oh yeah, you get that big ass annoying bar that pops up. Oh god.
Yeah. Except for we didn't have that back then. We just had parents with very loud voices and threatened to throw slippers and hit with wooden spoons.
God, yes.
I can imagine the face of your mom when you like caught it. She's probably just like, oh no, he's wise.
Oh no, she was pissed.
Oh, I bet. Yeah,
so
she wanted to hit you harder, probably. Like that happened to me. Like I remember, like because my parents never like beat the shit out of me, but I got spanked, right? And I mean, I was like, yeah, whatever. I got spanked. I'm fine. Anyways, I remember one time my dad like spanked me. I remember just looking at him like, that doesn't hurt anymore. Like, I'm not bothered by what you're doing anymore. It's not really like a big deal when you say this. And then like he had this look on his face like, I'll show you motherfucker. Like he had this look like he was gonna just kill me right then and there. But then he quickly realized, which I realized at an early age, just take away the shit they love. Don't even threaten. Don't even threaten anything. Just be like, oh, you didn't turn in your homework. Cool. Well, give me your phone, and your Xbox is off. And I've never had to hit my kids at all, but I figured that's way more. That fucks with your head. Like, that's your happiness. That's not physical pain. That's like, hey, what makes you happy? I'm going to take it all away because you didn't do what we asked you to do.
Oh, yeah. And like my mom, like, after that point where I caught the spoon, right? Which sounds ridiculous. I caught the spoon. I would like, she would start doing this like really sinister stuff. Like, and I would go away to my friends for the weekend. I'd be hanging out over there, and I would come home and my PlayStation would be gone. And the most fucked up part is she would just leave the wires there. But why? Like, you took the console and you just left the wires just hanging all over the damn place. Why would you do that?
Right.
And I have just this empty spot, and then I'm like, why did you take my PlayStation? Give it back to me now. She's like, no, you have to do what I say. Like, for the next week, you're grounded. You're not going anywhere. And I'm like, oh, I'll show you. Don't you? Like, I'll show you. Don't worry. Like, right. I'm going to make this very hard on you until I get my PlayStation back. I was a little prick until I did get my PlayStation back.
Right. Yeah, like my daughter recently has gotten to the point where I'm like, hey, can you do this? And she's like, no. I'm like, oh, that's a cool answer. So you're going to your room forever. Like, you're not doing anything. And I'm taking your phone. I'm taking this. And then, yeah, if it gets to a point, I'll just take everything out. Like, I'll just give her a bed and 4 walls and be like, enjoy staring at the walls. Like, just treat it like a prison, right? Might as well. That'll get her. One time, my wife thought she was cute. And she took the hard drive off my 360, right?
Oh, no.
And I turn on my 360, and there's nothing. There's no profile. There's nothing. And I'm like, what the fuck? And I'm like freaking out. I thought my hard drive crashed. And she's over there giggling her ass off. And she's like, what's wrong? And I'm like, what the fuck? There's something wrong with my Xbox. And she's just laughing because I'm like going nuts. And then I look at it, and I realize the hard drive's not there. And I'm like,
oh, you.
And I just look at her. I'm like, real cute. Where is it? And she's just like, I don't know, maybe I forgot where I put it. And I was like, yeah, this is not funny, really. Where's my hard drive? So then eventually she caved in. She's like, oh, it's up here. So she put it on the top of this cabinet, and I was just like, all right, cool. She went to go grab it, and it slipped between the wall and the cabinet, and it fell about 8 feet onto cement.
Oh my God.
And we had a moment where we looked at each other like, you better, please, for the love of God, let that hard drive still work. Also, how am I going to get this? So I had to tear off like the molding for the cabinet there. Yeah, because you couldn't get to it. Like on the top of cabinets, there's like a piece of wood that's, basically covering the space between the wall and a cabinet.
Right.
And it was in between that section. So I had to take the front part of my cabinet off, get it. There was all dinged up and scratched up, plugged it in. It was cool. But after that, she hasn't really done that anymore. She's like,
she learned it.
Yeah, she was just feeling awful. She's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I didn't mean to do this. Obviously, it was a goof, so I was cool with that. But she's like, I really didn't mean to do that to your system. And I'm like, it's all right.
I'm sure when it dropped, like she was like, oh no, what have I done?
Yeah, basically, we just looked at each other like, what just happened? Like, what did we just witness? And then she just immediately, she felt bad. She was just saying, I'm sorry. I'm like, it's cool. As long as it's cool, then we're fine. And then like when I got it out, it was all scratched up and I'm like, oh, for the love of God, please just work. Okay. And then, yeah, like I said, thankfully it was good. So that's all right.
Thank God. Good Lord. Could you imagine like,
oh yeah, I'd be really bummed.
Oh man,
really, really bummed. But again, I wouldn't have been upset. It was just the situation. Yeah, like it was a goof. I get it. I appreciate a good practical joke as well. It's okay. But yeah, there wasn't a practical joke though when your parents took your shit. You're like, "Where's my shit? Where's my?"
Oh yeah, you immediately go to like crazy demon child mode.
Yeah, exactly. That's always fun. So then you had a Genesis. Did all of that, and then did you continue going down? Like, obviously, most people didn't continue down Sega's path, like when 64 and PlayStation came out. So, where did you go from there?
Oh man, I have to remember. So, I got a PlayStation first. I believe, yeah, I got the PlayStation first, and then I think it was a year. Actually, I think it was like 2 years later. My aunt had gifted me with a 64.
There you go.
And that was like the coolest moment in my life. I was like, I have 2 consoles in my house. I feel so cool right now. Like, because I never got a Super Nintendo ever. Like, I had one at my cousin's house, and this is like I was living upstate New York, so I would come down to Queens, New York for the summers. So I would always be at my cousin's house, and I would play his Super Nintendo. And I had the Sega Genesis at my house, so sometimes we'd swap, but I never actually owned one until later on in my life. So I was like, yeah, I'm a boss. I have a PlayStation. I got a 64. I'm good. Like, everything's cool.
Yeah, you were one of those fancy kids that was nice enough to have both. You were cool. Were you cool kid on the street where everybody came to your house and played shit?
Oh, no, because everybody else on the street had like 4 controllers. I had 1, so nobody was coming to my house. Like, everyone's like, no, this is like my best friend Dimitri. He had 4 controllers. Like, when he was a kid, he had everything. Like, I'm not even kidding. When he got an N64, like, I swear it was like a week later, he had like 50 games for it.
Like, it was just like, it just works out like that. Everybody had that one friend that was like that.
Yeah, and I didn't even want to play video games in my house. I was like, I'm going to Dimitri's house and I'm playing his games over there.
Yeah, I mean, and at least that's cool that you had. Did you have like a core group of buddies that were like on the same street that you would always play games with? Because I definitely had that.
Yeah, I had. Well, for like the first part of my life, like we moved around. So I moved from New York City. We were in Brooklyn, and then we moved upstate to legitimately. I'm not even kidding you. Like, my neighbor was like 2 miles away, and they had a farm. Like, that's where we went.
Okay.
Yeah, that was terrifying. And then
that's like the horror movie shit that you see. Like, oh, I was driving down the woods on some dirt road and I just saw this house in the middle of nowhere. Like, that's that kind of shit.
Yeah, that was the point where like my parents would be like, go outside, and I'm like, I'm scared for my life out here.
I'm terrified that Leatherface is going to show up and cut me in half. Like, I'm so scared right now.
either that I was either afraid of either I would get like randomly murdered or the chickens would become my best friend and then I'd just become like the super weirdo. Like
Yeah, you'd become that social life where you don't talk to people, you talk chicken.
I talked to chicken. Hey chicken, how you doing today?
The chicken ain't got shit to say.
No answer.
Chicken.
All right, chicken. That's cool.
You're just eating. That's cool. I see you do that all the time. You like that, I guess. Yeah, that's fucking weird, but yeah,
right?
Yeah, that's the one thing too. You think about that, like I would love to meet a person who grew up and lived there their whole life like that, but had gaming in their life because it's like, the internet wasn't around to where you could discuss this much with other people. You know what I mean? It's not like, I wonder how many people grew up on a farm and just, because I remember there was two kinds of people. There was people that grew up on a farm who had really cool technology shit. They had satellite TV back when the satellite was like 8 foot wide and shit. Mm-hmm. Or they were just hillbilly to the umpth extreme. Like, and it was weird because you had to find those people that were like, some farm people were like, oh, cool, we have indoor plumbing. And then some guys like, I have a 65-inch projection TV with all the games and everything. Like, it was just weird, but I would love to find somebody that had like that, but he probably didn't have too many experiences with other people.
That was definitely that was kind of like my neighbor. They were they were Russians, like from Russia, and they had all this technology in their house. Like they had just like you said, that big ass satellite dish, that black one that like you saw tons of back in the day. It was like like the mid 90s. God, back in the day, I'm getting old.
It's okay. It's all right. Don't worry about it.
When you say that phrase, it's like, yeah, I'm old. So they had that huge satellite dish. They had all these TVs, the gaming consoles, like computers. Like I didn't even know what a Mac was until I went to their house and I saw it.
Yeah, those types of farm people are awesome, but also they have to have all this shit because they don't have other people to chat with, or like that's their life, is just being in their house having all this nice stuff.
Yeah, and they had, but the funny thing was when I went over there was a girl that I was friends with. When I went over there, she was like 2 years older than me, and she would force me to play these like stupid board games, just like what the hell was the name of that show? Clueless, with the girl and
oh my God.
Donald Faison from Scrub.
Yeah, that's because that's where we know. Like, that's the best part is when you brought him up. Like, yeah, he was in Clueless.
Yeah, he was in that show, and it's like, and God, I would be like, can we just play video games? She's like, no, I want to play this game. I'm like, oh my God, I'm being held hostage.
Sometimes that had to happen though. Sometimes you came across a buddy who you don't want to admit you were using him to play games, but you were.
True.
But then you had to do some stupid shit to be able to do that, and you were like, I guess I'll do this, man. Like, I just really want to play WrestleMania 2000, but if you want to fucking play some stupid ass game beforehand, I guess we will. Like, it happened. You don't want to admit it because it makes you sound like a terrible person, but you were a kid and you didn't know any better, so whatever. That's what we were. That's why you're kids. Kids are stupid. Whatever.
That was me when I was like 15 or 16, because I started getting, like, I already had my friends at this point, but then I started getting all the really cool shit. So I would invite my friends to come over purposely just for the reason so that they could help me with my chores.
Yes.
So I'd be like, help me fold my laundry real quick, or like take this bag of garbage, like, outside or whatever, do the leaves. And they're like, oh man, come on, like, I just want to play this game. I'm like, hey, this is what you got to do. I don't know what to tell you.
That happened. I mean, that happened all the time, bro. We're like, oh, your friends are here. I guess they can help make the table. Like, what the fuck? I got to do what? I don't do this shit at home. Like, what are you talking about?
I just want to shoot some hookers. Like, leave me alone.
Bro, is it too much to ask just to play Crash 3? Like, I guess. All right, we'll do this. So, no, I remember that too, man. That was a good way to con your friends into coming over and making them help you do shit.
Oh, yeah. Damn straight.
But, yo, man, you want to play that new hot game, bro? Guess what you got to do? You got to help me out a little bit.
I think the one, I think the one game that would get people over the most was Tony Hawk Pro Skater at that point.
Yep, that game is amazing. That game changed my life for the fact that I started skateboarding because of it, and then for about 4 years stopped playing video games because I was skateboarding too much.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, I just straight was like, skateboarding is amazing, and I was so into it, and I just didn't give a fuck about games for basically all of high school. Like, I just I didn't care. Like, they were like, bro, the only thing I cared about was the Tony Hawk games. Like, that's it. That's it. I didn't play any other games. I didn't give a shit about anything. And that was basically for, like, high school. I just I didn't own a PlayStation. I was that sad person that was going into, like, Walmart and going, do you have Tony Hawk 3 for PlayStation 1? And they would look at me like, what? Like, no, stupid. Like, what are you talking about? You have a PlayStation 2, right? I'm like, no. Because again, I didn't care. I was just like, I just want to play Tony Hawk, but I just want to skateboard. So, yeah, like I said, Tony Hawk, amazing game. Introduced me to skateboarding, which I still love today, but due to obligations, video games are way easier to than skateboarding right now. But I digress.
I totally agree. I think all of us tried to do that when Tony Hawk came out, and I tried to skateboard, and I was just fucking god awful at it.
Oh no, I got like decent at it. I wasn't like next level good, like I'm gonna turn pro, but I wasn't terrible at it either. Like, but I did it every day, all day. I wasn't home. I was just out skateboarding all the time. So yeah, it was fun. So then it's cool though that you had that group of buddies, because I had the same group of buddies. You know what I mean? Like I had that core group of guys that we would each weekend we'd go over to the other person's house and just stay up and drink as much Mountain Dew as we possibly could put in our faces and just play as many games as we could. And yeah, those are fun times, you know. But the sad thing is now is if I think about even trying to do that, like now, I can't. I just can't. Like, I could play games late, but if I thought about like what I did back then, also too, I'm not a kid anymore. Mountain Dew does nothing. I could drink a Monster right now at 11:05 at night and sleep like a baby in 10 minutes if I wanted to.
100%.
But yeah, like we would just stay up and just fucking drink Mountain Dew all the time and play Mortal Kombat 3 and try every fatality and babality and brutality and like do all of them. Or we would stay up playing SmackDown and creating characters for 17 hours because that's how long each person took to create their shit.
Yes, SmackDown. Holy shit. I almost forgot about that.
Dude, when SmackDown came out, it was the best in the world because when SmackDown came out, you were like, fuck yeah, a new wrestling game. Because, of course, wrestling then was the shit.
It was so awesome.
The shit. It was amazing. But the problem was, if somebody got, especially whoever got the game, they're like, cool, it's my game. I'm going to create my character first.
Oh, God.
And then every time that happened, I just think about, in SpongeBob when it's like 3 hours later. All right, cool, exactly. I got my face right. I'm like, what are you doing, dude? You are taking 9 hours to create your guy. And then after you create the look of him, all right, cool, I'm going to do my moves now. And we're just like, what the fuck, man? We just wasted the whole weekend watching this dude create his character. Like, come on, dude, fucking let's go. We got some story mode to do. What are you doing right now? Like,
I think the first one, the first time I had an experience with a wrestling game was not even SmackDown, it was No Mercy on 64.
Yes, good shit.
That one, like, and you had so many slots, like, because we thought that was so awesome. Like, oh my God, look at how much room we have to create people. So we just kept creating these insane characters. Like, we would make just random people. Like, I had my character, which I could still even tell you, like, his name was the Terminator. He had the blue shocked hair that went straight up with that stupid white Phantom mask, and I had the Rock's jersey with these red and black camo pants and yellow boots for some god fucking reason. I have no idea.
Were you trying to intimidate like a bag of Skittles? What were you doing, bro?
That's like, I think I was trying to
yellow shoes.
I think I was trying to become the bag of Skittles.
There you go. Yeah. Get a sponsorship. You're smart. You need money.
Exactly. And then it just went off the rails. We were like creating like sumo wrestlers and midgets and superheroes. And it was awesome, but it just always took us forever. And then exactly what would happen. Like 3 days later, you'd be like, I don't like this character anymore. Let's create a new one.
Yeah.
Like, oh God.
We used to do, me and my friends, because we were broke and lived in the ghetto and we liked wrestling, did backyard wrestling and shit. So like we created, of course, our personas in the game. But then when we got bored, we started creating other people, not necessarily people that we liked, that we knew. So, like,
oh man,
yeah, there was a couple times where some people got created just so you could like whoop the shit out of them and hit them with a steel chair about 12 times.
Always.
But yeah, I mean, like those games, again, they were so cool. The only thing with those games is as time got, technology got better and everything started getting better, there was just more and more shit for you to create, which meant you were going to take longer to create a person. Yes. And, yeah, like that was the only problem. Like when those games came out, it was like, oh, cool, man. Like Jared just got the new SmackDown game. That's cool. I'm going to go over there in a week when he's done doing his shit because I'm not fucking staring at him create his character. I'm not.
Yeah. The number one question or the number one thing, the first thing you would say to someone is like, let me know when you finish creating your character.
Like, yeah, might as well. Like, I don't really want to watch you do that. But again, remember we were talking about, oh, you got to come over and you want to see SmackDown. Cool. You can help me do my chores and then I'm going to create my character. And you're like, oh, fuck, fuck. And then, like, of course, when it got to your turn, like, you had seen every menu and every move and every hairstyle and you're just like, I can create my character in like 5 minutes if you just fucking give me the controller. If you could stop, I can get my shit done real quick.
The thing was, you honestly didn't even know what to do, though. You were just like, oh, man, like, do I want this or this or this or this? Oh, I don't know.
Yeah. Like they got just ridiculous, though, dude. There was like, create your own entrance. And I was like, what? What are you doing right now? Why are we going this insane with it? But that was the best part.
Yeah.
It was awesome.
That game was the one prospect that like scares me right now is I have one friend specifically who for every Smash Bros game that came out there we would always like I would either go to his house or like he would come to mine and we would play all of the characters like separately in each match. So we were like, okay, I picked this guy, now you got to pick this guy. And we just spend the night just like drinking whatever it was, like, and eating like a shit ton of Doritos. And like now it scares me because the next Smash game is coming out and he has a kid and one on the way and I live in like an hour and a half away from him. But we even still talk about it's like, okay, we got to still do this. Like this still has to happen. Like we've done it for every Smash game. But we're not kids anymore, so how the fuck are we gonna do it?
Yeah, that's the only thing is like, I mean, it sucks because it doesn't suck because like obviously adulting has its benefits, but then also just when you're a kid, you have no responsibilities. Your whole life is you and your buddies, and that's why back then we could play Resident Evil 2 and beat it with all the characters on every difficulty back to back. And no one gave a shit. Like, we just did that. Now, all my buddies and I, of course, we just do it online, because going to someone's house, that's funny. Anyways.
We're not leaving.
Yeah, we're not leaving our house, right? Dude, I got kids and shit, man. They're trying to go to bed. But now it's the sad part, because now it's like, even when an online game comes out, that's like, yes, all of us are getting it. Like PUBG. Like, when that came out for Xbox, all of us were like, yes, right? Like, we're all in agreement. We're getting this shit. Yeah, and we're going to play it. But now it's gotten to the point where, not to mention there's too much shit coming out, but like, we'll play it for like a week. And then after a week, we're just like, oh, well, I'm going to go back and play this. I'm just like, but also too, now as an adult with disposable income, we have that kind of money to just be like, fuck this, I'm just going to buy this other game. Or now there's all these games fighting for your fucking headspace. Like, you know what I mean? Like, it sucks because there's games out like Rocket League. We went on a Rocket League kick for like, I'd say a month, and it was amazing. And it was awesome. And then I'm like, all right, cool, man, let's play some Rocket League. And they're all like, no, bro, I got Assassin's Creed. No, I got this, bro, I got this. I'm like, damn it, there's too many games. Yeah,
now we have the opposite problem. We have all that money to buy the games, but we don't have the time to spend it. Like
that is adulting. Gaming as an adult is that. It's like all the money in the world, every console, which as a kid I would have lost my mind to have. Now, you have a job. Oh, you have a family. But again, there's still good things about that too, because having a family's awesome and having a kid's awesome, and it's just that the time of like what you would like to do back in the day, what you would love to do, you just don't have as much time to do anymore. But when you do get that time, you just have to like really make sure you fucking do it. Like you
got to do it big.
Yeah, do it big. And also too, it gets sad because then you start loving single player games that are 8 hours long. You're like, fuck yes, That sounds amazing. Like I want an 8-hour game that I can beat. Yes, I want to feel some sort of accomplishment.
And then it'll get like worse. Like you're just like I've had those years. I think like every other gamer has, where it's like I'm just gonna play multiplayer games, and you just play it for like a year, or I just want to play these single player games. Like I just got my Switch in September, and my friend has been trying to get me to play Mario Kart with him for like since I got it. Since the day I got it, he's like, we got to play Mario Kart, and I'm like, okay. And then I picked up Nier Automata, and he's like, yo, we got to play Mario Kart. I'm like, yeah, I'm sorry. This game is awesome. I'm not putting it down. It's not happening.
Yeah.
Like, and I don't have the time, man. I don't know what to tell you.
Yeah, basically that happened for Christmas. Like PUBG came out for Xbox December, like beginning of December. And of course I was like, yeah, of course I'm buying it. And we played it, and we still play it occasionally, and it's fun. The problem is I bought myself all my Christmas gifts because my wife's just like, you know what games are on sale, you know what games you want, just go buy the ones you want. And then I got South Park, Evil Within 2, and Assassin's Creed. All of them single player. Single player ass games. So then all of a sudden they're like, hey, we're going to play PUBG. I'm like, I got to get through South Park, man. This game's good. And then I actually got through South Park and Evil Within 2. So I'm good now. But the problem is I held off on Assassin's Creed because that's the longer of the games that I got. And I'm like, I looked on that How Long to Beat website, which is fantastic. And it's like main story, 26 hours. I'm like, fuck. That's a long time to me. That's a long time to me because I'm like, 26 hours for one game? Yeah. Dude, when I see a game and it's like, Wolfenstein was like 10 hours, I was like, that's cool. I could do that. That seems manageable. But then I get the exact opposite depending on the game. Like Metal Gear 5. I was like, let's see how long Metal Gear 5 is. What am I getting myself into? But then I played it and I was like, I don't care. This game is really good.
I don't care how long this takes me.
Yeah, don't give a shit. This game is really good.
I was surprised, like, when you said 26 hours for Assassin's Creed. Today, I don't know, maybe just everybody timed it properly. I saw a bunch of people that said they finally finished Assassin's Creed, and I'm seeing it range from like 50 to 70 hours.
Oh, no, yeah, like shit. Main story, just beelining main story, not doing side missions, which, yeah, right.
Yeah, exactly.
No, like, there was, like, the completionist on that game, I think it's like 60 or 70 hours. Like, it's up there. But, like, man. I mean, the same, Fallout 4, if you want to play the main story, it's like 12 hours. If you want to do everything in the game, it's like 200. So, it's that kind of shit. Which, by the way, new Assassin's Creed, oh, buddy, that shit's good. That shit's good. Way different. Like, combat's just different and stuff. Like, it's just not like a standard Assassin's Creed, but that's not a bad thing either. Like, it's pretty good. So, yeah, and Evil Within 2 is really good too. If you liked Resident Evil 4, please go play Evil Within 2 because it's awesome. And it's basically like Resident Evil 4. Like, you're just like, yeah, it's good.
You want to hear something that may make you hate me?
What's that?
So when Resident Evil 4 came out, I got pressured by all my friends to play it. I didn't actually play it until like 2 years later. Mm-hmm. And like, I was obsessed with this game. The second I picked it up, I was in love with it. But for whatever reason, and this has happened to me 3 times, I've tried to play this game 3 times. Whenever I get to, I can't remember his name, but the guy, the boss that looks like Napoleon died. When I get to like right after that point, I just get totally bored of the game. I don't know what it is, but it's just it's and it's upsetting because it's one of those games like I get sucked in and I enjoy like the combat, the story, the environment, the characters. But once I get to that point, it's just like, I don't know. I don't really want to play this anymore.
Some games suffer from that, where you get to a certain point where you're just like feeling like, all right, this is I've stopped games before, and like for me, which some people may hate me for, which that was for me was The Witcher 3.
Oh man!
So I played 40 hours of that game, probably.
Wow, that's a lot.
It's a lot, right? And here's where I got really discouraged. So I played 40 hours of it. I'm like, wow, this game's really good. Story's good. Characters are good. Voice acting's good. Combat's good. All of this. But I'm one of those people that when I see a map, I want to do everything. So I want to hit every X. I want to do every little side thing in the map. Played 40 hours of this game. And then I opened up the map and I felt like I didn't do shit. There's just so much in the game, and I'm like, you know what? I'm done. I can't do this anymore. I got other shit I got to play. It's a great game. I respect it. It's just entirely too big for me to keep going. Like, and I'm sure, I know it's great. I'm not saying it's bad, but when I have certain time to play games, and I got games sitting on my shelf collecting dust, and I'm like, dude, I'm not going to put 400 hours or whatever this game requires me to complete everything, because I'm one of those guys where I want to do everything.
Yeah.
But then I hit a certain wall where I'm just like, fuck this, I'm not doing this anymore. Evil Within 2, I beat it, and I literally went, oh, that's cool. And at the end, it's like, here's New Game Plus. Here's this so you can upgrade this. Here's this awesome weapon. Here's this new costume. Here's all this shit. And I'm like, no, I'm good. And I just fucking got rid of it. I just traded it in like quick. I'm done. I don't need to do this again. We're good.
Yeah, you're just like, I don't have time for this shit. Why are you telling me this?
Exactly.
Why would you do that to me?
You want me to not play Assassin's Creed and play this again? Nah, I'm good. So then you went from PlayStation and 64. So obviously, did you go GameCube route then? Because you mentioned Resident Evil 4. Did you have GameCube, or did you get it on PlayStation when it came out like years later?
I got it on PlayStation afterwards because I actually didn't. Again, GameCube was like, that was the beginning of my like turn away from Nintendo for a little while.
Right.
Which was kind of upsetting, but GameCube didn't really appeal to me. And at that point, it was like I started getting to, okay, you can have one of these two systems, because my family decided that if I wanted a gaming system, they were all going to pitch in for the gaming system, and I wasn't getting anything else for my birthday or Christmas.
Yep. Which you would take in a heartbeat because you want that new shit.
Oh, yeah, of course. And they were like, okay, so PlayStation 2 or GameCube? And I was like, PlayStation 2. I'm like, once I hit Sony, I was a fanboy. Like, it was over for me. So, GameCube I didn't have. I actually don't think I ever owned one. I mean, technically you can say I owned it. My friend gave it to me years later, but I don't really consider that like me going out and purchasing a GameCube.
Right.
So
you were gifted it, but you weren't like jazzed to the point where you're like, oh shit, I'm going to go buy all these games. I'm going to go do all this shit I didn't do. Like, you were just like, that's cool.
Yeah. And it was like a very weird pick for me, because I remember when the GameCube dropped, there was a game called Robotech, and I played Robotech. I was like, holy shit, I love this game. And then I just got a PlayStation 2 and totally forgot the GameCube existed.
You were just like, what the fuck's that thing? Like, I don't
know
that thing anymore.
No, I'm sorry. I have Grand Theft Auto. What are you doing? Playing with robots? Yeah, that's cute.
That was a big game, dude, because that was a game that made people drop everything. And it was like,
oh yeah,
what am I looking at right now? This is fucking insane. This is crazy. And again, the thing with me is that was around the time when that was coming out. I'm like, oh, that's cool. I'm going to go skateboarding. Like, I didn't give a shit. Like, I was just so in love with skateboarding. I was just like, that's cool. It wasn't until I actually graduated high school and started working at a game store is when I fell back in love way hard. I was just like, whoa, I missed out on a lot of shit. Like,
you were like, what have I been doing with my life?
Like, dude, 2000 to 2004, I didn't play anything except for Tony Hawk games. I didn't play anything. Oh, wow. So, like, all of a sudden I work at a game store and they're all like, yeah, here's all these games. Oh, by the way, here's these new games that are coming out. And I'm just like, what the fuck have I been missing? I've literally missed out on so much shit. And of course, working at a game store, I got all the consoles. So I got GameCube, Xbox, PS2, and just went nuts. I was just like, wow, I missed out on a lot of shit.
Oh, yeah.
That's going to happen though. So you kind of stuck the PS2 route and everything. Was there ever a point where you found something that got you out of games as much, or like, because everybody hits that high school age where you get more interested in something, whether it's high school, if it's like girls, or if it's skateboarding, or just friends, or did you ever get out of gaming at all?
I've had a couple of, like, maybe like 2 or 3 of those times. High school was sports and girls,
right?
Because I couldn't, like, it was either I have time for sports and video games, or video games and girls, and I was like, I'm playing these sports.
One's gotta go.
Yeah, something's got to give.
Video games,
here.
Girls. One of those has got to go.
Yeah, and I was at that point, I was like just chasing girls around school, and so I was like, okay, we'll do girls and sports, because I was playing basketball, soccer, and I was rowing in crew.
Jesus.
Yeah, I was like,
so
I don't know what the hell
all
happened.
year round. Like,
yeah,
you didn't have a time when you weren't playing a sport.
Yeah, basically. And that happened for about a year. And then what happened after that was I eventually started working the sports games, and so I was only playing like Madden and NBA Live for like a year or two at that point. Between my 4 a.m. crew practices and 4 p.m. basketball practices, and then soccer on the weekends.
Jesus, dude. Like,
yeah, it was intense.
I remember freshman year, I did wrestling just because me and my buddy were like, we like WWF. This is wrestling. This will get us strong. And then I like did 1 year of it. And, I don't want to say I quit, but I really did. Like, it was just so hard. I was just like, oh my God, what am I doing? But I did freshman wrestling. I did like middle school basketball, but then again, skateboarding. I was like, I'd rather be skateboarding than doing these wrestling meets, carrying my buddy up and down the gym stairs. Like, nobody wants to do this shit. So.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, it's just like I wouldn't want to wake up at 4 a.m. to go to a practice. Like, God.
Those are the worst. I was like, I could have been up playing video games the night before.
Dude, like, here's where the sentence ends. Waking up at 4 a.m. That's it. Like, right there. Just saying, waking up at 4 a.m. ... That's the beginning of a terrible sentence for anything. Like, that's just not good.
Like, I remember when they told me, they're like, okay, you got to come in 4 a.m. practice. I was like, this is a joke, right? Like, I'm going to show up and nobody's going to be here. Like, you guys are pranking me.
You're hazing me because 4 a.m. Who the fuck wakes up at 4 a.m. and does this? Oh, wait, y'all weren't kidding. Shit.
No, yeah. And the worst part about it was, like, I was in crew, so that means we were getting on the water at like 5 o'clock in the morning, and we're like a bunch of 16, 17-year-old kids, and somebody's brain dead at that point, like in the morning. So we're definitely tipping the fucking boat over and going into this cold water in the middle of December just because we want to get to practice at 4 o'clock in the fucking morning.
Jesus, dude, no.
Yeah, crew was a brutal sport, man.
Dude, that sounds all sorts of awful. Like, none of that sounds fun. Like, wow. But again, you want to wake somebody's ass up. Hey, check this out. Chip. And again, are you still in New York at this time?
Yeah, I never left New York.
Jesus,
I haven't
dude.
left New York ever. So like
4 a.m. Yeah. I'm imagining 4 a.m. no matter what time of year, water's pretty cold. Like, I can't imagine a time where it's 4 a.m. any part of the year and the water's like, oh no, that was a good refreshing dip. No, I'd be pretty pissed if somebody tipped the boat over.
Especially in New York, because New York weather, like, and I've been to a few other states. I've stayed there for like maybe a month or two. I've been to a couple different countries, but I've never like experienced such sporadic bitch weather as there is in New York State.
Right.
Like, it could be 65 degrees and totally sunny. It's gorgeous out. And then the next day it's fucking 20 degrees and there's like 10 feet of snow on the ground. I was like, what's happening here?
Yeah, I used to live in Illinois, so which they're kind of going through the same things, but not as much as New York. New York's like next level shit. Like,
yeah, New York's crazy.
Yeah, that's why I moved to Arizona, where I skipped the shitty seasons.
Isn't it just like blistering hot there all the time?
No, that's a misconception. Like, right now, it's like 70 degrees. It's amazing. I'm out there.
That's perfect.
Like, it's amazing. Like, dude, the easiest job in the world is being a weather, like a meteorologist in Arizona. Sunny and warm every goddamn day of the week, because it's that. Now, again, in the summer, does it get hot? Sure it does. Do you want to go outside? Not really. But what's funny is it's the opposite, because most places where it's stupid cold, people stay inside during the wintertime. In Arizona, you're going out of the house during the wintertime because it's 70 degrees and perfect. Like, you don't. That makes sense, yeah. Actually. So everybody has that downtime where it sucks. Arizona's is where it gets hot. The only difference is when it gets too hot, you at least can still leave your house. Like, You're not snowed in.
Oh, yeah.
But, I mean, again, like, the problem is, you want to go hike in the mountains in June, that's a 4 a.m. activity. You're like, no. Like, because I'm serious. Like, 10 a.m., it's like 105 out. You're not fucking around out there when it's that hot. Like, yeah, but again, right now, people love going outside because it's 75 degrees and awesome. So.
Oh, yeah. I can imagine. And, like, like summer. I had my first experience with desert-ish like climate this past June when I went to E3. I took a flight into Nevada, and we decided, like, because that's where the crew is based out there for my old website, the Gamer Access, and we drove to LA from there, and I literally remember they were like, "Oh man, it's like 110 degrees." I'm like, "What?"
Yeah, in
it's
Vegas,
what?
yeah, it's like 110.
Yeah. And like the car's air conditioner, I'm like, I haven't experienced this, so I cracked the window so very little.
No.
But the AC was completely gone. Like, it was like the AC was never working in that car, and I felt like I was dying.
No, yeah, that's a requirement out here though. Like, if you don't have air conditioning,
you're dead.
No, you don't survive out here. You really don't. Like, your car
bad.
AC doesn't work. It's a wreck. And like Vegas in here is pretty similar. We get a bit hotter. I mean, not exaggerating when I said it got to 118 out here one day.
Oh my God.
But again, if you had a job doing construction, yeah, that sucks. But
no way. I'd be like, listen, I'm not coming into work because I don't feel like dying today.
Like,
do what you will with that.
So that's what happens. But again, that's the thing now. So like, example, when we were kids, wintertime, because I lived in Illinois when I was a kid and stuff. So wintertime was like, I'm not going outside. It's cold as hell. It's time to play video games. It's the exact opposite for my kids here. I'm like, hey kids, it's 115 outside. I don't want you going to the park and burning your legs. So, like,
Jesus Christ.
No, dude, yeah, like all of the parks out here, like the playgrounds, have covers over them to help protect them from not getting to the point where they burn kids' legs.
That's wild.
It is wild. But now it's the exact opposite. I'm like, no, it's 115 out. You guys can hang out in the house and play games. But
yeah, don't go anywhere.
Yeah, please don't go outside. It's entirely too hot. But now is that opposite time where everybody's telling their kids, stay inside. It's too cold out. I'm like, kids, it's 75 degrees. Go out to the park and go do something, please.
Go have fun.
Like, go have fun. It is amazing weather right now. So then you're doing sports. You're doing all that. Now where did the point happen where you got back into gaming? Was it like when the next gen consoles came out? So like PS3, 360, that type of stuff?
Well, it actually wasn't even that got me back in. I had always been the one part I kind of been leaving out is I was when I was younger, I was more of a PC gamer. So specifically, like, I know everybody's going to remember these games like Roller Coaster Tycoon.
Yes.
The Sims.
Yes.
Command and Conquer.
Yes.
The one game though that like just locked me in for life, and I still go back to it. Like I played it last week, which was Age of Empires 2, and that game, like, I don't know what it was. I was just like, one day I'm like, let me just go play Age of Empires, and I remember like getting on there. And I immediately like did not like play any more sports after that. Like it was
that stopped it.
It was like
that killed that part of it.
One fell swoop. Like, yeah, I'm not playing sports anymore. I quit everything. Just leave me alone. Like,
wow.
So yeah, that kind of got me back in, and like that got me back in very heavy because after that it was like a train, just like boom, like you can't stop it. It's not happening.
Yeah, my train was the game store. As soon as I started working at the game store, I was just like,
oh, yeah.
I'm completely back on board with all this shit again. So like, so you had PS2, you didn't have GameCube, you didn't have Xbox, so then you just kind of stuck that route where you just stuck with PlayStation going forward. Did you actually get a PlayStation 3 when it was $600?
Oh, hell no.
Okay,
do you know how hard of a sell that was? Jesus.
Yeah. Sony didn't think so. They wanted you to get a second job, bro.
No, I was at that point. It came out in 2007, right? It was 2007 or 2006?
6 or 7, yeah, 6 or 7.
Yeah, and I remember
6. I moved to Arizona like right before we and PlayStation launched because they launched the same Christmas. So yeah, it was 2006.
Okay, yep. So I still remember because I had I still remember when they announced it, and they announced the price point. And I was filled with all the happiness in the world. And then once they announced the price point, it was just existential dread because I was like, I'm never getting this console. It's not happening. Like none of my family will probably laugh me away. Like I will probably, or either that, or I'm not getting presents for like 10 years.
Right. Like, can I sacrifice gifts for the next 5 years in order to get this thing?
You want me to buy you a $600 what? A gaming console? Like, I knew, like, even though I had like this little stupid poster from like, I think it was Game Informer, where it had the PlayStation 3 and the games that were coming out on it, and I had them all over my room. And I knew, like, I was just going to stare at this poster forever and just never get this console. It's just like, it was like a wish. That's all it was. It was like this faraway dream or wish that I could never touch. But,
just like we were talking about, waking up at 4 a.m. ... Your parents, you want a $600 ... Like, you are not getting this.
Crazy.
Like,
you're crazy.
You're out of your damn mind if you think I'm going to pay $600. Which, what's funny is, I don't think Sony expected that, because then, like, I knew a person who bought it on launch, and I was just like, man.
Good for you, man.
Good for you, man. I mean, you love Sony, and I get it, but, like, so many people were like, and it's funny now, because that's what happened the opposite of this gen. Xbox One came out, $500, PS4, $400, and it was like $100 cheaper. I'm going to go that route. Except for it was the opposite with 360. 360 was $100 cheaper. Even the most basic model of PlayStation 3 was $500 at launch. 360's like better model was $400. So everybody's just like, yeah, I'm going that route. And we all saw what happened, which is funny because eventually it actually leveled out where PlayStation 3 actually outsold 360 lifetime, which is just weird to think about because of how big 360 was. But then Microsoft and Japan don't work. Like, that just don't work.
Not at all.
That's how that happened. But
yeah, it was like the final 2 years of the PlayStation 3's life cycle, and they started Microsoft, like you said, they started having problems, and PS3 was just like getting everything. They had great indie games, they had great AAA titles, they even had those like mid-tier games that were coming out, and they were able to like totally dominate at like the very end of the life cycle. But
like, that was the thing. Like, PlayStation was just like, shit, we fucked up with that price. We got to fix this. We fucked up bad. We got to fix this. And then they did, which and that was kind of the same thing with me. Like, I bought a PlayStation from my father-in-law because he got the slim one. I bought his old school one. He had the old fat one that played all the old games, which I'm happy to have. But like, I got it. And again, I was just like, here's the saddest thing. And I'm still waiting on it, Square. I bought it and I went, oh, it's cool. Kingdom Hearts 3 will come out on this eventually.
Oh, I didn't know you were saying that.
Yeah, and then it still hasn't. So.
Yep, and I'm on the same path as you, man. I'm still waiting for it, but
yeah, but it's cool. I mean, again, like I like it turned into my exclusive machine for Sony stuff. So like, when Last of Us came out, I was happy as shit to have a PlayStation 3. I was like, this is amazing. This game is so good. Yeah, that's kind of happened. So then what did you do that generation then? Did you do 360?
So I got a 360 first. I think I got it like 2 years before my PlayStation. And because like the generation before, I got an Xbox like later. So like I was already getting into Halo. That was like kind of coming off the computer stuff. Like, that's when I got my Halo, the Xbox, and I was like, I'm not getting a PlayStation 3 ever, so might as well just get a 360. And I got a 360 and I loved it, which like for me as a Sony guy, I was like, holy shit, I'm shocked right now. Like, I can't believe, like, I love this system so much. I played Halo so much. Like, I thought, like, at one point, like, I was like, am I okay? Like, am I sick? Like, is something wrong with me? Like, I'm playing this way too much.
Yeah, dude, I played Halo 2. I played Halo 2 online every day for an entire year straight. I didn't take a day off. Like, birthdays, anniversaries with the girlfriend who then ended up being wife, Christmas, nothing. I was like, dude, no, I have to play this every day. Like, that's how it was, man. And some of those games hook you like that.
And that was that weird time period too. Like, I specifically remember where everything was kind of starting to transfer to online. So like, you'd have some days like all your friends would come over, and then the next day you guys would be playing online. Yeah. And like bounce back and forth. And you like we all had that feeling. It was like, this is like, we're not going to be playing couch co-op anymore. It's not going to happen.
Yeah, that's where, like I said, and that's where the whole shifting of you playing games with your buddies went from everybody coming over, except for Nintendo. They were still like, what's the internet? And they still are in a way. But
that's not real. That doesn't exist in Nintendo.
The internet, who needs that? But no, like that's when it definitely started going more online, and then games just started getting more and more ridiculous. Like, so again, that's where the shift happened. But also too, when you start getting into like, I started getting more into the industry, and then they were talking about, well, think about this: the game has to run twice if you're playing local. Like say if you're playing Call of Duty or Halo multiplayer, the game has to run twice. If the game is looking incredible and it's barely running on one person playing it on the console, why do you think it doesn't run two people? And I'm like, well, that makes a lot of sense. But I'm like, it's way easier to do that. So, yeah, I mean, that happens. But again, we got through it, and now we're just online all the time.
Oh yeah, we can't get off it either.
Right.
Like, I can't even play half my games on my PlayStation 4 unless I have the damn PS Plus membership.
Yep, there you go. Sony hooked you there too. So
thanks Sony.
Yeah, exactly. So then eventually you got a PlayStation 3 and everything, and now it sounds like, based off our earlier conversations, that you have a PS4.
Oh yeah, I have all of them.
Oh, okay, cool.
I got the Switch, the PlayStation 4. Unfortunately, my Xbox is just chilling at my parents' house right now, and my brother's playing it.
Well, at least it's getting used.
Yeah, it is. It's getting used. I'm waiting for that moment, and I think today they Microsoft said they're making an announcement soon. So I'm hoping games? I'm hoping there's something exciting behind that.
I believe me. Like the one things I was reading about, which I hope are true to death, because again, this is going to sound ridiculous. I have 4 Xbox Ones in my house. Okay,
that is ridiculous.
It's a bit.
That is.
It's a bit. My son has one in his room, which he bought with his own money. I got an Xbox One S, which means my old Day 1 edition went in the loft for my daughter to play, and then I upgraded to an Xbox One X, which means the S went in the living room for a Blu-ray player. Anyways,
there you go.
That's how it happened. But anyways, so the thing that I've learned,
loves you.
Dude, they love the shit out of me. And the thing that I love is that I can do the game sharing with my son, right? So I buy a game digitally, he has access to it, and he can play it on his profile even if I'm not logged in upstairs. So like they have that right now. The thing is, it's only between 2 people. So example, if my son is signed in playing one of my digital games, my daughter can't play on the other Xbox either because she has to sign in as my name to play the games that we have digitally. So that's where there's a problem. And it's only happened a couple times, but that's the problem. I'm like, shit, she wants to play, but unless he has games on a disc, then he can play those, whatever. But any digital games, only one person's going to be able to play it at a time, right? So that's my problem. From what they were talking about was doing, because they already have family settings and all that, is doing a home network sharing where any Xboxes on the home network can play from whoever's profile. Which, if that's the case, God bless you, Microsoft, because I got 4 of them in the house, and it's already a nightmare when I want to go play Diablo in the other room with my wife, or my son wants to play PUBG on my name. I'm just like, and then I heard, we're going to make an announcement on digital games, and I'm like, for the love of God, please just do family sharing. And I'm talking like just if all the Xboxes are on the same network, just share games that way, and I'd be the happiest person.
Oh yeah, just Microsoft, please do this, because Mitch is about 3 seconds away from having his kids go gladiator style for who gets to play what game.
Yeah, exactly. My daughter wants to play Minecraft story mode, or my son wants to play PUBG, and then we're going to start fighting, and then that's all fun, right?
Oh yes.
So obviously, what are you playing now then? Like, what are your games today?
Oh, okay. So I'm trying to balance a bunch of games because, for some reason, I mean, I don't know if it's for some reason, but I still play Skyrim like all the time.
Some people, that's their staple. They're like, I play all these new games. Oh yeah, and I play Skyrim. Yeah,
Elder Scrolls is like, I'm a total Elder Scrolls nerd, and that's like, that's actually one of the things I didn't get to say was like when I first got the original Xbox, right? The original, or was it the 360? No, it was the.
Well, it was the 360 had Skyrim and Oblivion.
So it was the original Xbox when Morrowind came out.
Right, Morrowind was on the original one, right? Yeah, that wasn't on PlayStation or anything.
Right, exactly. And I played Morrowind, and I was like, whoa, this game is so good. Like, and that kind of brought me into everything Elder Scrolls. So like Skyrim, that's definitely a staple that I keep switching in and out of. I just finished. Well, I didn't finish, but I had enough of Mario Odyssey where I got like 700 moons.
Okay, yeah, that's a good amount.
Yeah, that's like and the crazy part was in literally 4 days of owning Mario Odyssey, I got like 380 moons, something like that. It was like, yeah, I didn't stop playing it. It was like I got it at a perfect time. Like I got it the day before I had my 2 days off in a row, so I stayed up all night and played it. I slept for like 2 hours, and then I just kept playing it. And my girlfriend was pretty mad, to like say the least, because I just spent like 48 hours playing video games and ignoring her.
That'll happen.
Yeah.
Well, I mean, she should be more understanding. God, it's Mario Odyssey.
Well,
Come on.
I mean, I always tell her, I've been telling her this in September. It's her fault because she bought me the Switch for my birthday.
Yep, you could always throw that in her face. Just be like,
so I mean, babe, I'm sorry, but it's your fault. So
you done did this. If you didn't want it to happen, you should have just you should have bought me a nice shirt. I could have taken you out and wore this nice shirt. Instead, you got me a Switch, so it's your fault. Exactly, that works.
Exactly, and so Mario Odyssey just finished. I'm going through my third playthrough of Nier.
Wow.
Yeah, I did the A and B. Now I'm going to do C. And I think that's pretty much like, and then, yeah, pretty much it between like dabbling between Mario Kart and I think I'm the only man my age that I personally know, like none of my friends, that still like I'll jump in and play like a couple hours of Minecraft here and there.
I got into Minecraft for, I want to say, a couple weeks. Because, like, my son, of course, just wouldn't shut up about it. And, of course, there was that stigma of, it's for kids. It's for kids. Which is not a good stigma. Because, like, for example, the Lego games, they say for kids. Real fast, those Lego games are actually really fun. Couch co-op, anybody can play them. They're pretty fun. Anyways. I started playing Minecraft, and then like one of my buddies was just like, "Hey, you want to play Minecraft with me?" And I'm like, "Are you fucking for real right now, Minecraft? Are you sure?"
Of course.
Like, are you sure? I have it, yeah, because my son wanted it. I have it, but are you sure? And he's like, "Fuck yeah, dude, Minecraft's awesome. Let's go." So I played with him for like 2 weeks until like I got lost somehow. And I got so messed up of where I was and where I built my house. I got so lost digging and just not paying attention to where I was, to the fact where I got like so lost, I wandered forever. Didn't realize if I was wandering in the right direction or not. Got lost, and I just said, fuck this, I'm done. I can't do this. I'm just pissed off because I had all this house with all this cool shit, and then I couldn't find it. And I was just like, all right, I'm done. I don't, because I didn't do something right. And also, too, my son, he's funny because he's like, Dad, I'm better at games than you. I'm like, you're adorable. No, you're not. But when it came to Titan, like for example, he's like, I could beat you in Titanfall, and I'm like, I promise you can't. Like,
Did he really say that to you? No
yeah,
way.
No, yeah, he's 100%. Like, he plays a lot of Titanfall, right? So he's really like he's regened a bunch. Now, I have a job and responsibilities of making sure he is alive, so I don't have all the time in the world to play games. So I haven't even regened in Titanfall 2. So he thinks he's better than me. But I'm like, here's the thing. Skill-wise, you've just played it a lot. Skill-wise, I will still shoot you in the face as I grapple hook around a corner. Please don't get it twisted. However, when I was playing Minecraft, I literally was in that mode where he knew everything, and I was just like, he's like, no, Dad, you could get this and do this and build this. And I'm like, all right, kid, that's cool. Let me figure this shit out, please. Thank you. Like, but he was so, and again, that was the one moment where I felt like an old man. I'm like, my son knows way more about this than I do.
Oh, yeah. Especially that game.
Oh, that game is ridiculous. But yeah, he still plays it all the time and shit. And yeah, again, I definitely gave it that, oh, it's a for kids game. But then, I think I just saw something on Reddit that was like, there's 144 million copies of Minecraft sold across all platforms. So yeah, it makes sense. I've bought it a couple times now for phone and for all my kids, for phone, for iOS, for Android, for 360, for Xbox One. I haven't bought it for Switch yet. I'm sure I will. I'm sure one of my kids will want it for Switch, so they'll end up spending their allowance and getting it.
It's going to be amazing on the Switch.
Exactly. If people want to check you out or anything, if they want to see what you're up to, what games you're playing and everything, where would they go?
So for Twitter, I'm at GameStom_UD. because I need to get that cool underscore in.
Yep. Only cool people have underscores.
Damn right. And in a couple weeks, on February 4th to be exact, I'm actually launching my new venture website with myself, a couple other games journalists, and a few producers, and an esport player, competitive one, flashkick.com. And we're sticking to that because that's Guile's awesome move from Street Fighter.
Absolutely.
And we're doing something different there. So we're trying to make it like the website is the central hub. YouTube and Twitch are supplemental, and it's going to work like an actual TV channel. So like if you go on at certain times, programs will be happening on those certain times every single week. Like, oh shit, my show is on today. Let's go check it out. And the big thing, because I know this is going to be, I guess, maybe a sore spot for some people. Maybe they'll only catch half the content, but we're going to be covering video games and tabletop games. So like one day we'll be playing like Call of Duty or Payday or Overwatch, and the next day we'll be playing Dungeons and Dragons and Magic the Gathering. So,
there you go.
Yeah.
Got to go over all the spectrums, and some people like all of the above, and some people like only half of that shit. And if they like any or all of the above, they can check your shit out. So
damn straight. Yeah. And I always I felt like this was just like a natural progression, because as gamers, like I feel at some point, if you're a gamer and you've been a gamer your whole life, you should attempt to look into D&D, because without D&D, there wouldn't be video games. Like that's just a straight fact. It would not exist on this level, especially RPGs. Forget about it. I was gonna say,
RPGs like alone right there. That is the RPG before video games were around. So
yeah, you'd have like 40% of gamers would just like be shit out of luck.
Yeah, exactly. or stories wouldn't be as evolved, or I mean, they could
character development, like abilities.
I mean, RPG genre would be completely different. Like, it would be completely different. So, dude, I want to appreciate you being on the show. Again, shout out to Sean Capri for linking us up.
Absolutely,
that guy. But yeah, man, thank you for being on the show. And then also too in the show notes, I will have links to all of his stuff. So if you want to check out his website, hit him up on PlayStation, because his Xbox is at not a different house. It's not his other place. But no, if you want to hit him up on that. Also, if he's cool enough, if he wants to find out how his Switch friend code works, whatever fucking nonsense Nintendo does.
Yeah, let me give you my 7,048.
Right. Yeah. No, I'll catch that and put it in the show notes. Nobody's gonna have a pen and paper for that shit. So thank you so much for being on the show, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, thanks for having me. Anytime, man. This was awesome.
All right. And again, thank you, Thomas, for being on the show. Again, if you guys want to catch his website, it's going to be launching February 4th. It is flashkick.com. Of course, I'll have links in the show notes for everything, his website, his gamer tags, and then also I'll be sure to tweet that out as well when his website launches. Again, if you guys want to be on the show just like he was, he literally sent me a tweet at MitchPower1116. You could also send me a tweet at the podcast Twitter page, which is at GUG Podcast on Twitter. Feel free to join the Facebook group, Growing Up Gaming, or go ahead and visit the website, gugpodcast.com. Again, thank you guys so much for returning to the show. Thank you guys for supporting it. Any feedback you guys have? Do you guys like these kind of longer episodes? Or do you like the tangents I go on? If you do, great. If you don't, let me know. But either way, I appreciate you guys listening, and I'll catch you guys next week with another guest. See ya.